Hello everyone, welcome back to the Halidom Hotspot, your one-stop shop for all things Dragalia Lost. My name's Orthodox, your host, and today we have a very special guest and a fellow content creator, Achimel.
Hello!
Hey, welcome, glad to have you. And as traditional on the podcast itself, we usually have just a small little questionnaire so that the viewer and the listener can get to know you a little better.
Alright.
So, just curious to know, when did you start playing Dragalia Lost?
I started from the very first day. I was a day one player.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And then how do you feel about the game now versus when you started?
Infinitely better. They improved so much on the entire game, so much quality of life that it's really, really good and so much fun to play as.
That's awesome. Anything in particular that stands out from you for being a day one player versus now in terms of a quality of life change that you really appreciate?
Spark.
I could see that, yeah.
Because well, I talk about this with other gacha games as well. When it comes to a pity or a spark in this case, it adds so much free-to-play value to a game, no matter whatever game it is. It's such a good quality of life.
Yeah, I definitely like the fact that, as we'll see later on in the episode, with all of the new units that are coming out and how they may never come back again, if you have enough Wear Might or if you have extra funds laying around, you're guaranteed those units. So it's definitely a good change. Well, guys, for those listening, and for those who do not know Achimel, he is, of course, a fellow content creator here on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed to him, I definitely recommend doing so. I will have links in the description below for his channel specifically, and any videos that we discuss or content relating to that in the description as well.
I would very much appreciate it, because every subscriber to me, it really does mean the world, especially because I actually just broke 500 a few days ago, so that means a lot. Thank you very much, and also congratulations on breaking 1,000. Amazing work.
Thank you so much.
Amazing work. Bat packs for all. So. Bat pats for all.
Yeah, everyone. I suspect everyone in the community will get a nice set of growth from this collab as we walk into the event. So at the time of recording, the collaboration is not live. But when this video does go up, the collab event will be live, so it'll be very exciting then to see all the new content, all the themed bosses, and just see how all the new faces in the community. That's really going to be one of the most exciting parts.
Yes, it will. It will be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait. I've even where I am right now, I've already seen an influx of people take interest because of Persona 5. Now when it actually releases, I cannot wait.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. I think last night the game itself was trending all over Twitter, and as well as Sophie herself, the determined welfare character. Was also trending. So people were looking up, what is Dragalia Lost, and what units from Persona are coming, and it's just a really exciting time to be both a Persona fan and a Dragalia Lost fan, if that's the case, and for people that are new, right, new and upcoming Dragalia Lost fans, and they just don't know it yet. So, yeah, that being said, before we roll into the information in regards to the collab, just kind of wanted to go over briefly first impressions and thoughts on Legend Cayenne, how open and viable you think the meta might be, just kind of roll into those thoughts. So to get started, Achimel, have you attempted Legend Cayenne yet, and what are your thoughts on the fight?
Okay, so I have attempted Legend Cayenne solo and co-op. I was able to clear solo day 1.
Nice.
I actually did record something that's in the works right now. Co-op, on the other hand, it's an entirely different animal.
Yeah, right.
But me personally, for solo, I love it. It's so much better than Volk because what makes Volk so annoying is that the fact that Plague exists and Phase 1 for Volk, relying on a healer to clear the Plague in order for you to get a good run. Because, well, for me, that footage, in which I did also do a solo clear for him as well, that took about 3 hours for me to do, maybe more. For Legend Cayenne, I already had a great idea going into it, and that same team I brought in, it worked like a charm. That footage only took me 1 hour. So that in of itself really does dictate that Cayenne, it's more the mechanics for him, not so much RNG. But well, of course, Berserk brings that to an entirely different level. But still, it was much more manageable. And honestly, that's my first time ever using Belina. She's fun.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Belina is incredible unit, and to be honest, the only glaring issue she had was, you know, having to be at low HP, and what does that mean for team compositions when attacks are stacker based, right? Or there are unavoidables, and quite frankly, with Grace covering her, she just gets to go wild. So
yeah, Grace,
very good unit.
Grace had literally patched any issues Belina had and just said go.
Right, yeah. Well, that's awesome, yeah, and I think as well, it seems that Okada and Sai Games are really starting to come into figuring out how to make the solo fights more fair than simply just changing the stats or the HP total pool of the boss fight, which we kind of saw with Master Ciela, right, where it was just an HP change. It was pretty much about it. And that still was kind of like, you know, I don't know, in terms of co-op, it just kind of became a headache with how the mechanics were in that fight. But here, with that little, I think what people were referring to it in public forums was the sun and moon mechanic.
Yes.
Right? That's pretty much irrelevant from what I've been hearing in solo play.
Yes.
Or at least to the point where, you know, you have, you also get the ability to use an iframe which covers your whole team. So that portion is also very nice for solo play.
Yes, that iframe and the little sun and moon mechanic, that is much more simplified in solo play, and that helps immensely with clears.
Right. Now, I do really like this new idea and new mechanic of the Berserk mode. And so initially when Legend Volk came out, we didn't know if it was going to be a unique or standard mechanic, right?
Yeah.
It could have just purely been for him, right? Just like how Plague was. But exactly. Now that Cayenne is experiencing the Berserk mode in his Legend form, we know a little bit more that Tartarus, Twins, and most likely Ciela will also have this form.
Yes.
So, that being said, it does place a high importance on Force Strike-centric units.
Yes, it really does. It really does. And now that we know that, we can start to prepare for those. Mm-hmm. Which also on my free time, I decided to have a little fun and come up with a LCL solo team actually. And not gonna lie, nice. I think I could clear it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely have to see. The best part about the Berserk mechanic and what kind of makes it fun is that overdrive bar becomes like I don't know if I would say like a stopper, but you know, they really don't take any damage when they're in overdrive state. I mean, the only damage the boss is really going to take ever is when you break them. So, yeah, it's, you know, as far as it goes for future units, I'm really excited to see how the Monster Hunter units will do, primarily Monster Hunter Cerise and Hunter Vanessa.
Yes.
Their overdrive melting potential is and was already very potent. So we'll definitely have to see, you know, what kind of role they'll have in the future.
Yeah, so I'm actually very excited for Hunter Cyrus especially because she doesn't just shred overdrive. She also makes the team more survivable by reducing strength as well. So she is a multi-purpose unit for Legend Twins, and I feel like she might be optimal for solo play.
Right, yeah, I could definitely see it. I mean, here as a great example for how 4-strike-centric units that were not in the meta have surfaced in the meta for solo play would be Linnea, right? As I'm sure you've seen various tweets and clears, I think one of the compositions involved Linnea, Padia, Veronica, and Grace, and it cleared in, I want to say it was like 3 minutes and 30 seconds, maybe a little faster for solo. That's pretty good. So
that is really good.
Yeah, right. And one of the big things, just so that the listener is aware as well, for what is making Linnea strong in solo play, is that when you play solo, the lead units cut in when they use their skill gives the whole team invincibility. And having that is extremely important because your AI in Linnea can charge her 4-strike for free. And, well, quite frankly, that means as long as you're using your skills, she can just keep going and does not have any interruptions, which is pretty darn good.
Yes.
Pretty darn good.
Yes, it's very good, and well, frankly, Legend Kai actually saved her in usability because beyond that, you really can main her. You really can't.
Right.
She's meant to be a 4-strike shredder on the bench, and Legend Kai fits that perfectly.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really interesting, right? Because her kit is 1 or 2 pieces off being completed overall, since she's one of the few shadow units that just can't take advantage of the attack rate.
Yeah, she really can't.
Right, so that the Agito weapon skill that she has for the 30% attack rate will not affect that force strike charge. So, yeah, I mean, as I was saying previously, I think I mentioned this with Quite, the kit in which Linnea has and the benefits she has from share skills, really all she needs is a 7 cost or lower force strike charge share. That's it, right?
That's all she needs.
If they gave that to her in any capacity, in terms of her co-op viability, it would immensely skyrocket. And the other really nice part is, Achimel, do you have Hunter Cerise by chance?
Yes, I do. I own every single limited unit in the game.
Yes, my brother. That's been my claim so far as well. So hopefully that stays true for us for the collab. I wish you the best of luck as well on that.
I will use my wallet. I'm getting them all. I'm using my wallet.
Oh gosh, we have to. I mean, there's no other way. There's no other way.
Content speaks.
Yes, but the one thing I wanted to mention about her is Hunter Cerise currently is the only unit in the game to date still that has a shareable skill that increases 4-strike damage.
Yes.
The mods are also really good, so there's nothing to laugh at on the mods either. And for Linnea specifically, we've only seen, well, I guess this would all be all shared skills in general. The highest cost of a share we've seen is 7, right?
Yeah.
At least to this date. And Hunter Cerise's shared skill is a cost of 3.
That's amazing.
So, in any capacity, we are primarily waiting on any unit to have any kind of 4-strike charge rate, and then they automatically pair together, and they would make Linnea's kit as humanly possibly amazing.
Yes, I can't.
That's the bottom line.
I can't wait for that.
So, yeah, I think that's the bee's knees. There's no other way to put it.
that is the best way. She will become the bee's knees.
Yeah. So one day we will have Linnea supremacy. So
one day.
Now, speaking of other 4-strike units, and of course the centralized unit of the current banner that's live during recording is Gala Chelle. She seems to have a polarizing opinion within the community. And before we talk about her, I was just curious, did you pull for her? And what were your thoughts on her kit initially?
When I initially saw her kit, obviously she pairs beautifully with double buff meta. She's meant to have buffs galore, meant for her 4-strike damage and her first skill. But also, she can, once when she has enough second skill stacks, she can tank really well.
Right.
So pair that up with my Grace shield as well. She is not moving. She is literally just holding 4-strike. She's not moving. I was able to try her out. Right? I was able to try out a little bit on co-op. She just sits there.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like these new units that are, I think I'd mentioned them previously, right? As like arthritis units. And you just don't have to tap the screen. You get to save your thumb. You get to relax a little bit. You can massage your thumb a little bit in between the matches, and you're primarily just rolling and holding your finger down. And that's your gameplay mechanic loop. So
yeah, pretty much. Now I'm curious. So who would you categorize as an arthritis unit?
So pretty much like every dagger, and then anytime you want to play like a support, I would say all the buffers in Shadow, right, which is primarily Padia.
Yeah.
Any of the buffers in Flame now, as Horus is their best in Slot Dragon.
Yeah.
The healers as well. If you're deciding to go that route, it's actually even. I think the saving grace for Galaxy is the delayed tap. But
I love that so much. It feels satisfying to do the delay attack. It feels satisfying.
Right. So the now on the flip side, right, we have these arthritis saving units, right? Gala Chelle being one of them, Leonidas being another, Seimei of course being another as well.
Yeah.
So
Lapis too, I would say as well.
Yeah. Any of the rapid striking mana casters, definitely. Oh, and you know what? That brings me to a really good point for a prime example of an arthritis unit.
Oh boy.
The Yoshitsune.
Yeah.
That unit. My thumb always hurts so bad after. I have to like take breaks when I'm playing with that unit. So very fun though. Very fun. So anyway, back into Gala Chelle's kit.
Yes, back on topic.
Yeah.
Back on topic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I really like the way that her skill 2 is designed. It's really, really impactful when you do decide to use it.
Yes, it's very strong.
And, getting that permanent buff zone around her kit or character after the 5 stacks of her, I think it was like Royal Pride or something like that was the name.
Yes, he has actually nailed it right on the head.
Perfect. Okay, just from memory. But once you get 5 stacks of that, right, you're guaranteed that little buff zone. And that kind of just stacks within her kit, as well as it plays nicely with all of these new Shadow units that are coming out. Dragonule Victor, we have Opera Karina, right, that has these new... I wouldn't call them all poised, right? Because that's not typically the name that's given to all of the skills. But all of the skills have some kind of interaction positively within the buff zones. So, yeah, I mean, I could totally see it, right? You just roll into the battleground and then everyone drops their buff zones. Gala Cleo supremacy again, right?
Yes. I cannot. I cannot wait until she gets back on the map. Actually, and that is why I feel like them doing this buff meta, this field zone meta. I feel like she will come roaring back, but I feel like it won't be for Cayenne. I feel like it might be for the next end game that buff zones might become a big deal.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, there was. Just a minor note on that, and a side segue into the traditional or new possible endgame content, right? These Generation 3 fights, supposedly from what they've been seen in this data mine that was taken down, right?
Oh, yes, this.
I read something about dual elements. I don't know if you were had seen that as well.
I was actually going to make a video on it, but I was too late. It was already down. I was like, well, there's my double upload.
Yeah, and the thing is when that content got removed like that, or that was taken down, it kind of further solidified my suspicion that it was true, and they didn't want to talk about it just yet.
Same, actually. That was exactly what I thought. I pretty much thought you pretty much confirmed whatever was in there is that, or the Reddit moderators are just being Reddit moderators again.
Right, yeah. So, so be it. In terms of what we'll have to wait and see. What that is. That should be. Maybe more information for this month, right, which would be on Monday, February 1st. And if not, then definitely on March's this month from Okada. So.
Oh yeah, that is another video.
So that, of course, will be, that's another video in this little spree of weekend videos for all the content creators. So.
I'll pretty much be living at this chair for a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely got our work cut out for us.
Definitely do.
So, yeah. Well, overall, Gala Chelle, I think the one thing that holds her back is just the availability of strength dragons in Shadow.
Yes.
At the given moment. That being said, I want to say at this current time, Ramiel is probably the most realistic dragon for her to use.
In the general pool, yes. Unless if you want to run low HP Chelle.
That's true. That is true because Andromeda does get the multiplicative bonuses within itself.
There's Andromeda, but then from there you can then still add on Kuran or Summer Patya as well to not only make her more tanky, but also give her even more strength. Then in turn run Grace as well. Then you're absolutely shredding.
That's a great point. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's really awesome. Shadow has a lot of really powerful low HP co-abilities and chain co-abilities mixed in.
Yeah, exactly. Shadow is pretty much following the very light trend of Grand Blue Fantasy to where it's Enmity. It's just it's just low HP. You do numbers. That's what Shadow is.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take it. It's a fun play style, right? It's high risk, high reward.
It really is.
So, yeah, I think the only dilemma that I see in terms of the low HP playstyle for Chelle is safely getting to that point before Grace decides to put up the shield. That may be an issue. It may not, depending on how the mechanics are. If there's an early attack that you could just quickly run into before Grace puts up the shield. And it also depends primarily on the pub meta, if they're going to accept not running 100% skill prep on her.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit to get the pub metas and the general player base to change mentalities, and Grace has run with 100% skill prep for a long time. So it may not be a viable private or a public room strategy, right? But it definitely could be a private strategy that could be used. So
yeah, easily.
Yeah,
because I can definitely see that happening though. I can definitely see someone creating it, making a viral video on Twitter or YouTube and being like, "Oh, this is good. Let's do it."
Right. And then obviously the question comes down to, well, can it be replicated in pubs and
are people smart enough to do it? That's in short what it comes down to.
Right. So yeah, all I know though in its entirety is that if the reborn Void Dragons continue their trend, when we get reborn Nidhogg,
that is something
Gala
else.
Chelle
That is something else. I cannot wait for Reborn Nidhogg. Because so many units would love that. I cannot wait for that.
That is probably one of the most whale-worthy dragons, just in general, for a long while that I've seen. That it's not even... Yeah, I mean, because think about it, right? Initially when... we look at the Shadow Dragons, it's you're either heavy skill damage or you're a traditional 60 strength, when most of the other elements have 70 to 90 with other little benefits kind of rolled into their kit, right?
Right,
and
exactly.
Yeah, you could argue like Fatalis or Andromeda, but the conditions that they have are
really
very
harsh.
crippling. Yeah,
they are very harsh.
So, Fatalis, I love him. I love him so much, but not being able to shapeshift is kind of not so good, right?
It really ain't.
Unless you're a Dragon Drive. I mean, then you could maybe make a case for it, but
Belladonna.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a great choice for her in terms of,
Yeah, Dragons, because especially from right now, because I was able to max him out in the Monster Hunter collab. He immediately got used, and I would love to switch to Andromeda, but I'm just going to wait for essences at this point to go live.
Right. That should be rather soon, if I were to guess.
It should be, based off of what I've seen other people say. It should be soon.
Right. So that's going to be pretty nice. It's definitely nice also to have farmable essence, just to kind of flush out our dragon roster. Kind of help new players as well, because there'd be, if I was starting right as a new player, I would feel really overwhelmed with all the dragons that people are requesting, and
yes,
then I gotta build this unit, and I need this much material, and but then I also have to worry about my facilities and weapons at the same time. There's a lot of avenues to upgrade.
Yes, and speaking of like newer players and stuff, I was thinking about making a progression guide really soon, because I did one before, like right before our first anniversary. That's at 11K views.
Nice, that's awesome.
So yes, I was planning on making a updated one where it's like, okay, you just re-rolled, now go to Agito.
Yes, yeah.
That will definitely help a lot of new players, especially with this new end game about to emerge as well.
Right, yeah. And some of the end game isn't really spelled out anymore. For example, High Dragons, it looks like an end game content.
It's really mid.
Yeah, and in a lot of places, it can just be entirely skipped. It's optional in this point, right?
Exactly, because of Chimeras, they can do just fine.
So, yeah. It's interesting to note, how things will progress, and it's very possible the other new boss fight that we end up getting, right, will be a different upgrade avenue. So probably not weapons. I think that's what Okada might have mentioned previously.
I honestly hope so.
Maybe dragons. I mean, if anything, right? You know how High Dragons and Agito drop worm print and adventurer augments?
Oh, I already know what you're saying. I already know it.
So dragon augments and adventure augments seem like quite a good pairing for this new boss fight, right?
Yes, it does. Give us the dragon augments and also that one material Morseati's Reckoning has as well.
Oh yes, the Nature's Blessing.
Yes, because well, we will talk about this a little later. Okada mentioned something about those. Right.
He did, and that's that's actually a great point. So that being said, we can actually continue to move forward. We do have then the new units to talk about.
Yes.
I won't now as a disclaimer for those listening, we won't go into the full details of the kits, but we will pull out what we feel is interesting and most important to focus on for these units for let's just say, a more in-depth discussion. But if you guys would like to see then both my and Achimel's total thoughts and initial opinions on the banners, be sure to check the link in the description below. I'll be sure to link both videos then for you guys to check out. So, yeah. That being said, we can definitely start with the main protagonist, which is Joker himself.
Yes. Not gonna lie, when I first heard his voice, I was like, oh yeah, he does talk.
Yeah, and I've never actually heard Joker speak.
Same. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he's not a mute.
And so when I heard him speak, I was like, whoa, that's his voice? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, I dig it, you know. But for some reason, like, because I've played Smash, and you know, I have Joker on my roster, and I think there's only just the cutout lines where he like calls to Arsene, and then that's about it. So hearing him say like an entire line to me, it took me back. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, same. I was like, whoop.
Yeah. That being said, in his kit, I guess just kind of looking at what I found to be unique or interesting, universally, between all the units themselves, the one thing I found really interesting is that the persona attacks alongside them. So I'm not sure if that's like a second hit to their combo count.
That is interesting.
And if it'll have its own modifiers, because I saw that in the writing. I didn't necessarily talk about it in my video because, you know, I don't want to do too much speculation there in terms of the content. But, you know, there's a good case that for standard attack combo, if Arsene is available, you know, Joker might be hitting his hit plus Arsene's hit and getting +2 to the combo counter every time he attacks, right?
So like the Shikigami.
Yeah, and the thing is like, then that would go beyond, because if you had over damage...
I was about to mention that!
I'm sorry, I'm stealing all your thunder. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. This is your show, but I was glad that we were on the same wavelength right there. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, I get so excited whenever I get to mention overdamage, because it's currently my most favorite mechanic.
It's a stupid mechanic. It's so good.
I love it so much.
It's really good.
I love it.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, if that's the case, right, then, you know, we'll see a really, really high combo count on Joker, which doesn't actually make his ability 3, the hits for energy, the 30 hits equals energy, that bad. It actually starts to make it even more serviceable.
It really does, but my overall thing with Joker is that compared to the other two units, being Mona and Panther, his is probably the most basic kit compared to them all.
Right. Yeah, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you could say the same thing about Marth's kit versus Veronica and Fjorm when they came out on the collaboration.
Yes, exactly.
His initial release kit was very, very simple.
Right.
So, and then what do you know? One singular ability in the kit was enough to make him the powerhouse animal. Yeah.
Yeah, the cheese man himself.
Yes, yeah. He and the power of friendship, you know, finding his way in. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the other thing that really stood out to me, and this is actually on all the units as well, all of their unique force strikes. Well, actually, they all have unique force strikes, first of all.
Yeah.
And they are all gun users, right? They all wield a gun on their force strike.
Yes.
So that is really cool. That's really, really cool to have access to a ranged option to continue your SP gain or, you know, your damage on the boss. Uh-huh. So, yeah, I really do like that a lot. Is there anything? I've been chatting for a moment, so I'll take a pause. Is there any piece of Joker's kit that really stood out to you that you know you were ecstatic to see?
I'm probably at the most the attack rate, because that's going to be applied to technically every unit now outside of Legend, that is, but the fact that every unit can get attack rate for every other form of content, that is going to be pretty nice.
Yeah. You know, so I have this build.
Oh dear.
For Halloween Mim, and you know, I frequented your Discord, and you know, I do know that you are a fellow Mim advocate. So you know,
what can I say? Man of culture.
Yes, sir. I completely understand here, and That being said, I've been playing around with like a full attack speed style build, like Horus and whatnot. As soon as I saw that Joker's co-ability had attack rate on it, I was like, well, I mean, I have to get it because I have to try out how fast I can make Halloween Mim attack. There's just no other way.
Oh yeah, I feel like when it comes to especially Halloween Mim in this case, she needs to attack fast because axes are so slow. Right.
And the other thing is, which kind of ties into, well, not just Halloween Mim, but other units, the 7% attack rate, right? It's 7%. I mean, in retrospect, I was like, Okada, please just make it 10.
OCD?
But, you know, the thing is, it is multiplicative with any other attack rate buffs. So the aura from Horus, or the buff from the Agito weapon skill, at least the interaction between those attack rates would be multiplicative.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and which will, if anything, this is incredibly busted on Dark because one, you can use it in Legend, but also B, because of their Agito skill existing, plus another shared skill, you can also have the attack rate. So you can literally just rapid tap your screen and you're doing full-blown combos like it's the speed of light.
Right. And that brings us back to an earlier point. Okada is encouraging arthritis. Okada, please. My thumbs, they can only handle. I'm going to have to learn how to play the game with my left hand.
just want to be Southpaw. There you go.
Yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, and the other, I guess the closing thoughts then on Joker is, they've given him a level 2 force strike, right? Which we mentioned earlier with Legend Cayenne is amazing for shredding the overdrive bar. And not to mention, it's also on command dispel.
Yes, on command dispel is amazing. That's why Belna's so good.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, so, you know, he's going to go places. I instantly see him as a meta unit. If anything, primarily for hype. There's no other way. I mean, you know, that he has great mods, which is nice that we can see that right away.
Yes, all of them actually have great mods. All of them have great mods. They really have to.
You can tell that the SP costs are also tuned around the fact that he has that attack rate bonus, which is totally fine because, you know, he's gonna be great. So
yeah.
Yeah. That being said, we actually do have the next unit, which surprisingly, you know, I honestly thought Joker would be the prize piece of the banner.
Same honestly.
To a much lesser extent, I kind of assumed that Panther would be a prize due to the fact that, you know, it's a gacha game and waifus are hot sellers, right? So
literally,
usually tying them together is a good way to make a nice set of cash. But I was surprised because once again, Psy Games has shown their love for felines.
Yes.
You know, first, before we mention who I'm speaking about, the first mention of love for felines was in our worm print, Feline Hospitality.
Oh, of course, there it is.
You know, that's a mention, right? And then
that's a hard mention. Oh my god.
That's a meta-defining mention.
Yes, that is.
So, yeah. So now we have Mona, which, you know, I'm ashamed to say I actually have not played Persona 5. I haven't gotten around to doing so, but I've heard two names, Mona and Morgana.
Same.
So I guess then the official name that we'll be rolling with for the sake of the podcast and for the community will be Mona.
Yes.
But right away, you know, I locked on the co-ability.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The wind damage plus 20%.
Yes!
And I was speechless when I saw it. I was like, I knew this was coming on someone. I honestly thought it was going to be on Joker for Shadow.
Oh, and that no. Oh.
That would be awful. I mean, that would be so good.
That would send Dark to another plane of existence already.
Right.
As is.
Right. So yeah. And it's funny because people will be like, okay, don't worry, you don't need to pull Mona because it's only 6% better than Blade, but right away, if you're playing from an optimal standpoint, that discussion or that argument has already communicated to you that this co-ability has outclassed the Blade.
Yeah, it's better. It's better. Just run them both. Right, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you can run them both. I mean, some adventures, they're not very skill heavy. They are force strike centric as we're seeing, and this damage component plus a blade is going to mix and meld much better with their kits.
Yes, exactly. So, in which there's a reason why Peony is used on every team in co-op. There's a reason.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So the fact that Wind now has access to that is going to send Wind up places.
Right. Not to mention for newer players, if you're looking to invest in a unit, investing in a unit that has a elemental damage plus 20%, of course, the only units we have now are Mona and Peony to speak of.
Yes.
Those percentages and just the co-ability in general is so versatile that, for a new player who doesn't have a whole lot of Eldwater, they can be insured, right? That's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best backline just for the element period.
Yes, exactly. Mona will be an amazing unit to invest in. Even from co-op aside, his kit in general is actually pretty good. Right.
Yeah. And that's another thing. His shared skill was something that I kind of locked onto as well.
Really?
The reason I did is the shared skill has the ability to raise the persona gauge.
Oh, no, shared skill. For some reason, I thought I said chain co-op. My bad.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, chain collab. It looks like for chain collab they just kind of gave it like a little flavor text, and it's the traditional like 10 hits equals water resistance.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said. Wait, really?
Yeah, you're like, why would you do this? Why would you say that?
My brain is overloaded for a minute there. I'm good.
Yeah,
I promise I'm good.
No, in his shared skill, right? It's a cost of 5, and it also raises the persona gauge by 300.
Yes, in which I do need to ask this question though. When it comes to this shared skill, when it's used on other units, is it technically Dragon Gauge?
Yeah, see that's exactly the same question I asked. Like, I wanted to know because if in fact you share the skill, let's say to Mim, right, or even better, let's say we put it on Yuden, right? Right. And then you also put Gala Mim's share on Yuden, which is a cost of 4.
Yes.
Which we know, adds to the Dragon Gauge because that's just explicitly what it says, right? And we know also in Mim's skill that it adds to the Dragon Drive gauge because we've seen it on Tiki and other Dragon Drive units.
Yes.
Will this skill be the same as the question that you've asked, right? Because if it is, you have, 2 shared skills that fit that to maybe a greater extent. I don't know what the translation would be for the 300.
Right, exactly.
For the gauge.
But then, well, I do want to quickly loop back to Joker. Then, if this were to be true, you have a shared skill that is boosting Dragon Gauge, assuming obviously, and also reducing strength by 15% for 20 seconds.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Joker's, if anything, Joker, his share with the strength reduction and the way in which the animation is could be very, very useful for various leads in auto compositions. Because it is a repositioning skill as well. So you'll see in some of the fights, like Gold Fafnir auto composition for Volk, a repositioning share skill may be enough to keep your unit out of the shurikens. which then of course might also lead into keeping your unit alive so that they can survive the infamous nothing personal kid phase.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. That though right there has me very interested in the interactions and the implications it will have for other units.
Same.
So, yeah. Well, and we saw it with Catherine too, right? Because Catherine had her stacks for, her little hit counter, and then when shared as a skill, it always does just 42 hits.
Right, exactly. So like...
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a total rework of the skill in terms of when it's shared. So, maybe in fact it when shared to a Dragon Drive or a shapeshifting unit, it fills the gauge by 5% or something like that. For whatever the charge is, it'll be yet to be seen. But something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yes. In which I'm still very excited because, well, regardless, I'm sitting on Shadow Tomes especially. So regardless, if it's really good, Joker.
Right.
I'm actually double checking my tomes right now.
Yeah.
I just want to see how much I have at this point. 26. I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was comparing and chatting in the Discord. I think someone has like 40 something Shadow Tomes. It's wild. It's a wild time.
Yeah, it's a great day to be Shadow player.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That being said, we do have one more unit then to chat briefly about. Panther.
Oh, Panther.
So,
okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do have a dragon, which isn't really a dragon as well, but we could chat about him last in terms of just getting the adventures.
All right, fair enough.
Now, Panther, of course, just as a disclaimer, will not be on the first banner. So while this podcast is live from the recording date, Panther will not be on banner 1. Saving grace, though, we have a singular free tenfold for banner 2.
Gotta do something. You gotta do something for all the gacha gods in order to pull her off that free. That's for sure.
That's right. You gotta make your summoning circles. But that being said, her kit as a whole, very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if for first impressions if I was terribly impressed, but the problem is that since she has unique animations all the way through and through, it's difficult to assess how strong she actually is without seeing her gameplay.
That is true, but me personally, on the other hand, I've seen a lot of people already be like, what? Mm-hmm. I personally love her kit.
Right.
Because well, when you just look at all the potential numbers she can do, not only, and by the way, this is a very quick a TLDR, right? Her kit is just stacked. She can Scorch Rend, she can Punish It, she can reduce Strength, she can reduce Flame Res, she can Dispel, and also she can boost her Strength, and also even further, she can increase her damage up to a maximum of 40%.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, right, in the hands of a skilled player, I see her being a high skill cap or decision-making character.
Yes.
Right? And honestly, I really like the concept of that. I really like the concept of rewarding a player who's knowledgeable of a fight and knows how to use, kind of like stances. They know how to use a particular mechanic at a certain time.
I understand this because of Narmaya.
I hope so. I really want her to come, so I've been holding out.
I only mentioned Narmaya because, well, she's known for having stances. She's known for that.
Yeah. In my mind, I was looking more on Gala Leaf as an example for
that is true. That is true.
Different utility through his stances, but, that does bring up a good point, too, so... for that, though, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we will have to wait, but regardless, she might be my main for fire. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, she looks great. I mean, the thing, too, is that even her co-ability and her chain co-ability are both unique.
Yes.
So this much is very interesting because she got not only a Scorch Rend Edge type effect, but she also got an extender. So, you're taking the traditional 21 seconds of Scorch Rend and you're stretching it by 2 seconds, which brings it to like 25 or 26 seconds in total duration.
Yeah, so borderline formal Joachim levels of staying on there. And which will
pretty much,
which will Joachim is 30 seconds, which is stupid.
Right, yeah, for poison, right? And that's absolutely insane. I mean, I looked at some of the previous units like Yachio, and they have 13 seconds of paralysis for reference, right? So one skill, more than double the amount of time for a single affliction. It's just insane. And not to mention too, right? You have the Scorch Rend Edge effect. Oh gosh, it's a tongue twister.
It really is. Even when I was talking about, I was like, wait, am I saying that correctly?
Right. So, yeah, that's just crazy right there. And the thing too is that you now have 20% bonus affliction chance. So, units like New Year's or Kimono Elasan, who seemingly didn't have very good affliction rate base mods, are slightly better.
But though,
in that regard.
Well, what I say about Panther really quick is that she pairs one-on-one, hand-in-hand with Gala Leonidas.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, that was like my first thought when I saw it. Yeah, 100% agree.
It's mainly the chain co-op that actually points to that because it extends shapeshift time. When you main Gala Leonidas, you can get discounted dragons, and now they can last even longer.
Right. So, yeah, and of course it's not just any dragon; it's Mars, whom
exactly
is just an animal. Mars
exactly.
is. I mean. I love, okay, first of all, just a little gushing session. I love the design of Mars. I think it's really cool. And I also just really like that his dragon skill is refillable. Smart play is rewarded with extra strength buffs and more damage. Like, what more could you want?
Exactly, it's great.
So, yeah, it truly is. It truly is. And, I think as we get closer to Panther's release and as we get to see her play, I'm sure just like how Hunter Cerise was or Tiki was, these second banner units that are typically featured by themselves are really, really impressive. So, yeah, I definitely have high hopes for her kit.
Me as well.
I'm tempering my expectations, but...
I'm not.
Just for my wallet.
I'm not, because I'm like, give me. Because also for me, I have lances completely maxed out in weapon bonuses, and my flame lance is legend up. So it's tier 3 level 90.
Yes, the fellow lance user. Yeah, that's the way to go. Lances are so fun. They really, really are fun.
They are. So yes, I will most definitely have fun with her. I'll definitely do a video or two. I'll definitely will.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It should be good. It should be good with all the utility that she has. That's a great point that you had mentioned earlier. The sheer amount of utility that she brings. Resistance down, dispel, scorch rend afflictions, self buffs. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to work with. So
exactly. And also one more thing to mention: we have already seen gameplay of her first skill being Wildfire. We've already seen the range. It's perfect for Volkwolves.
Oh yeah, I mean that skill is. I saw it and it looked like it was like the whole field, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like,
she is made for Volk.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping, if anything, that she's made, for both solo and co-op play, if possible. But, we'll have to see what her and the rest of the Persona Overdrive bar multipliers are.
Yes, so that's definitely something. And that's even something else to mention. She has Gala Leonidas's Force Strike.
Oh, she has the rapid fire.
Yes, she does.
That's okay. Yeah, I see. You know, I actually didn't notice that. That's a game changer. That really is.
That absolutely is a game changer because now just imagine running I like one of her or two Leonidas or two of her and one Leonidas and all of them just sitting there.
Yeah, yeah, and you know that actually makes a lot of sense because didn't we get a gun skin as well that was teased in the weapon listing? So I think
we believe it is the next one. We believe it is.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. All in all three of these units that we've discussed are just amazing. I mean, unique kits all around, unique shareable co-abilities. The shared skills are nothing to scoff at as well. The final unit then to mention is our dragon, which is not actually a dragon, but you know, in our sake it is for Dragalia. Anything that's not an adventurer is a dragon.
Yeah.
So Arsene, right?
Anything 10 foot at this point. Anything 10 foot.
Yeah, I think that's that's probably fair to say. Until we have our first giant adventure, right?
Gala not.
Yes, please, soon. So, yeah, that being said, Arsene, you know, he overall has 2 90% attack skill damage auras, which then total to 180% attack skill damage. The one thing that was pointed out to me actually through the Discord, and as well as my rereading and going back over his skill.
Same, actually, I saw that.
Is the fact that it's not multiplicative, right? So in what we mean by that is traditionally, since the Cat Sheath buff is an on-play buff, it is multiplicative with any skill damage you'd be picking up from Wormprints. So that actually pushes Cat Sheath's skill damage beyond. Whereas in Arsene's case, he would be much closer to Shinobi, a little bit better actually, marginally better than Shinobi, because both of those dragons, Shinobi and Arsene, are additive to the skill damage Wormprint.
Yes, exactly.
So the other thing that got mentioned as well is the first passive of Arsene is colorless.
So
if you know, like, you know, it's 90% skilled attack skill damage all around, right? I mean, Light, yeah, that's a great point. Light doesn't have an attack skill damage dragon.
Exactly.
Period.
Light finally got their skill damage dragon.
We did it. No 20% strength, but that's okay. At least we have Thor running around and Daiko, right? So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
But yeah, you know, light bulbs are going off in my head. Non-ironically, that you mentioned light, but I'm excited about that because it's true. We've been floating with strength dragons in light for the longest time, and we've been floating with skill damage dragons in shadow for the longest time. So it's good to see other viable uses, right, for Arsene.
Yeah, but sadly he can't be used in Legend Tartarus because he is initially
True.
dark. But we can have some fun, damn it.
Yes, you know, you can't, Okada. You can't stop me from having fun.
I will cheese my way to victory.
Yes. So, yeah, overall, you're probably bound to get an Arsene at one point or another between the 7 summons.
Oh yeah, just like Gozu on the New Year's 3 banners.
Right.
Arsene is exactly the same case. You're bound to get one copy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. So, I mean, we're getting 70 free summons. He's probably going to show up one way or another, and honestly, he's a really great dragon for new players as well, just because he can go on every element and be a skill damage dragon. You know, I mean, 90% skill damage is a great starting point to help them clear content.
Yes.
So, yeah. You know, the last thing that we had to chat briefly about was some of the answers from Okada in regards to the radio show. Something that stuck out to me in here was his response to the Alberian Battle Royale. And I was happy to note that they have plans to allow it to be open on the weekends.
Sam, actually, I am really happy about that, regardless of my opinion of the Alberian Battle Royale, which is a entirely different can of worms. I am glad they are making it a little more accessible throughout the week. That way people can have more opportunities to grind for what they want.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is I know I spoke with a few people on the Discord, and just from the time constraints, they actually weren't able to grind out enough points for the katana from this time around.
Quitty.
And so, and I don't know, I hope the weapon skins come back, right? Or recycle their way into the pool somehow.
I do as well. I would also
they're just really pretty. They're really pretty, man.
They are. I wanted this katana so bad because every other katana, it's borderline ugly. This is Yasu's katana. His looks clean.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really, really good.
Yes.
So I definitely had to pick it up. Yeah, Blade also has a lot of really cool characters. You got Halloween Akasha, you got Ieyasu, you've got Mordecai, right? I mean, Mordecai's really cool design.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was nice to see there as well. The player level cap increase is inevitable, right? But was also mentioned.
It was, but I'm here like I'm not even at 200. I'm actually about to hit 182, so I'm getting there. But it's like, I'm so close.
Right. So
almost there.
Yeah, overall, to be expected. And also, this wasn't necessarily in the Okada answers, but the rupee facility levels increased.
That was mentioned a while ago, and which they did apologize for not mentioning it in the initial altar and dojo increase.
Right. Honestly, when I saw it, I was like, okay, let me take a look. And I went from level 40 to 41, and it was a 20 rupee increase for 30 of my tier 4 light orbs. And I was like, this is really bad. And then I went to upgrade it again, and it went from 10,000 to 20,000 in that 8-hour spree. And I was like, wait, what? And I looked at it, and when you go from 40 to 45 now in your rupee facilities, it changes from 9,000 per mine to 50,000 rupees per mine per 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
So the change itself is actually 0.6 million every day versus 60,000 every day.
Okay.
Which is pretty substantial.
That's great for gold change. I will say that.
I was considering making a video, and I decided against it. I got things to do.
Yeah, honestly.
But
in the end, it's still a facility.
Right. One of the things that kind of persuaded me away from doing the video was the requirements to upgrade every facility from 40 to 45 is just insane. I think someone did 300 runs of Void Joan on triple drop, and they were nowhere close to having enough tier 4 orbs to complete the rupee mine.
Are you kidding me?
Dead serious, because they start each rupee mine around 30 tier 4 orbs apiece, and it's a lot. I mean, it's a huge investment, right? In terms of, since we just don't really have good ways to get tier 4 orbs. Maybe this changes with the Persona collab. In terms of what they do for drops. But the scarcity of tier 4 orbs is still prevalent. As well as, I mean, at the end of the day, when you do get the upgrade, the rupees are significant. but getting to that point might just prove to be more of a chore than it's worth.
Yep.
For the allotted rewards.
Time to make my depression hole bigger.
Yeah. So I did some quick math on what the implications of the daily rupees would be, and assuming you complete all of your dailies and all of your weeklies, and then no more. That's the assumption here.
All right.
You would be able to make, and this is also the other assumption I made, was you perfectly grabbed the rupees from your facility every 8 hours in a 24-hour cycle.
Okay.
Right? For the maximum of 0.6 million from the rupee facility. You're getting a little under 2 million rupees per day. Which is not too bad. I mean, in general,
what that means
is a full Agito weapon, start to finish, would take you a little less than 3 weeks.
That's actually not bad at all.
So, right? Because, I mean, the thing is once you've completed the weapon, you've completed the weapon. That's it. Like, you can use it on any character.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not character specific.
Yeah, in which that's something I really need to do as well. Just work up a lot more weapons. That's something I'm trying to work on right now.
Right. And this the other thing too, just to note in terms of the value of that, is this is the bare minimum. So we're talking if you only did your weeklies, if you only did your dailies, and then you just logged out, and you didn't play the game beyond anything else. So any other rupee income, speaking of the login bonus for Persona being 100 million rupees.
Love that.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah. That being said, that is actually all the time that we do have for today. So, Achimel, I wanted to personally thank you for coming on and spending the time with me in the recording for the podcast.
Absolutely no problems. I was honestly surprised that you had reached out to me, because I never thought I would be in a position like this at all. So honestly, even being invited on here, it meant a lot. It meant I'm doing the right thing, so one way or another.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and for those that are listening, if you haven't subscribed to Achimel, definitely do so. Again, I'll have a link in the description below for his YouTube channel, as well as relevant content that we've discussed. And I think that you guys will be pleasantly surprised. He has a lot of great content on his channel, and he's another great source to get your Dragalia Lost information. So, Achimel, anything that you'd like to say to the audience before we do our formal goodbyes and closing?
This man's hurting my heart right now. He's making my heart hurt. Because, well, honestly,
I apologize.
Honestly, I'm just glad to now actually be known for something, because well, even when I first started, I was just a mess when Dragalia first started, and well, I would say decently recent, around like 6 months ago, I decided to really ramp up content, and now I went from 100 to 500 within that time frame, and well, I'm just here now. But honestly, thank you guys for supporting just every Dragalia Lost content creator. Just thank you for supporting us. It really does mean a lot, and I can speak on everyone's behalf, I feel like, when I say stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really like this community, and not just the community itself, but the content creators. Everyone in here is amazing. So yeah, you know, that being said, let's go ahead. Let's see Achimel reach 1,000 subscribers. So if if we could see that happen, I personally would be ecstatic. You guys would be doing me a favor, making me happy. So that being said, as well, if you have not subscribed and you did appreciate this episode, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let us know how you're doing. Drop some comments down below. If you're on YouTube here, let us know which unit you're most excited for on the collab, and how your experience is going. So thanks everybody so much for listening, and again, Achimel, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, no problem.
See you guys.
This was fun.
Yeah,
this is great.
Yeah, absolutely. it's a really chill time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.